Hey up, back again with another Millennium Trash film. 3 in a row, that makes. I feel like we're being spoilt a little bit here. This episode, we're taking a look at Vampires vs. Zombies. Later renamed to Carmilla The Lesbian Vampire, this is a 2004 straight-to-video horror film directed by Vince D'Amato, who hasn't done a whole lot. It looks like this sort of low-budget schlock is kind of what he does. But hey, he's still working today. Good for him. Film stars a bunch of unknowns, nobody that really stood out except for somebody called Brink Stevens. Might have said the name wrong, not entirely sure. But she's been in over 220 films. And sure, a lot of those are bit parts, uncredited roles and such, but 220 films is quite impressive. Most of them might be crap, but still, that's some work ethic right there. So, this is another Asylum film. It's not a good start. It also has a very low IMDb score, and most of the top reviews on Letterboxd are in Russian. Not a great start, not a great start. Let's see what we've got, shall we?
What the hell is all this?
That's my other daughter. She's been infected.
Infected? She's dead.
She's sick, damn it.
Dad,
Jenna.
I've been meaning to ask you. Where do you think we're going?
What do you mean?
What is it now, Bob? Oh, shit.
I am now going to attempt to break down the plot to this film. Apologies if it sounds complete nonsense or I do happen to get any bits incorrect. I'm trying my best with it. So, there is a father and a daughter in a car and they are driving somewhere. They run over a zombie. Looks intentional. Then they stop to pick up 2 women, one of them being Carmilla the Vampire. They then go to a gas station where things happen, characters are introduced, and then you never really see them again. People die. Then the father, the daughter, and Camilla all leave together in the car to go somewhere else. While this is happening, there's an old man who I think's crazy called the General, and he's driving around looking for his daughter and slapping the shit out of people. Then Carmilla is trying to seduce the daughter. Meanwhile, the daughter is having these visions where she's in an insane asylum. These could be real or not. They all meet at this warehousey building type thing. There's a conflict and then the credits roll. So you might have guessed that this is complete nonsense. The way it's edited, the way it's structured, motives aren't clear. None of it really makes much sense. Things just sort of happen and we're expected to fill in the gaps, I guess, or we're expected to know the motives, but we don't really. It's only a 77-minute film and it somehow manages to be both very confusing and very boring at the same time, which is an awful combination of things.
You crazy bitch!
So take her.
It was me, devil. Ow! Well, now we're even. You broke my fucking cigar.
This might be some of the most awful acting we've seen in this collection so far. Not one person in this can deliver a line convincingly, and conversations feel like they were recorded in a vacuum, so there's no flow. It feels like each character's talking their lines and there's no one sort of giving the other line back. It's just so disjointed and strange feeling. And then on top of that, you've got the motives and the actual characters themselves. They're sort of just non-characters and all a bit nonsensical. You can't really tell who's doing what and why. Like, what is the motive for any of these things? Gore. We do get some gore in this. Most of the better stuff is saved for the end. But when I say better stuff, I don't mean it's good. The gore is poor. It's poor gore in this. It's not good at all, really. Nothing to bother watching this for, to be honest. And there's a sleazy element, sure, but again, it's minimal, really. Like, a sex scene starts and then it cuts away before anything's really happened, to be honest, and there's a bit of nudity, but it's just, it feels like it's been heavily cut down, or they didn't really dare do anything, or the actors just didn't want to fucking do it, and I don't blame them, to be honest, for a film like this. So the film is called Vampires vs Zombies, and there are barely zombies in it. There are some, but they don't have any weight towards the plot. You could easily remove the zombies from this film and it wouldn't make any difference. To be honest, I think you could remove all the characters from this film and it wouldn't make any difference. The vampires are sort of the main focus, but again, it's hard to tell who's a vampire at what point. But I guess they're the most interesting of the two things. But I'm saying that very lightly. Nothing is really interesting here. The level of incompetency that went into this film is mind-blowing. It is absolutely baffling. The way this thing is put together, it's so lazy. The camera's just shoved in there. Things don't feel like they're framed correctly or anything. The editing is all over the place. Things just stop and start constantly. The music is very stock sounding. It's not great. It doesn't fit the scene at any point. And then, to top it all off, talking about stock, there are so many stock sound effects in this. Tonally, it just makes things so bizarre. Because there'll be a scene that's trying to be a little more dramatic, I guess, and then you've got like stock punch sound effects in there, and it's just incompetent through and through. There is no point in this film where I thought, oh, that's alright, that's interesting. That's the thing with bad films. I generally like to watch a bad film because there'll be something in there at the very least. There's usually an idea, a spark in there that makes you go, oh, that's why they made this. And you can learn from bad films. I always think you can learn from the worst films. This one, all I've learned is don't make anything that even closely resembles this film, basically. It is that incompetently made.
Quit your bitching queen shit. Grab a tampon and get out there. Or do it here, I don't care.
Look what I found!
So it turns out that this is actually an adaptation of a book, quite a famous one, called Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. It was written in 1872 and actually predates Dracula, being one of the, if not the first vampire book ever written. It's a classic and it's got a ton of adaptations as well. My favourite is probably Vampire from 1932. Some amazing cinematography and uses of shadow in that. It's really an impressive film for the era. This is an insult to the book and to Vampire just by association. It's an awful adaptation that I didn't even realise had anything to do with that book until looking it up further and seeing that there was an alternate title for it. It's not a good version. It is, however, an Asylum film, and it does what you'd expect from Asylum. It feels like a bit of a cash grab, a bit of a cheap rush job. Absolutely very Asylum. It fails on all fronts, I'd say. It's not interesting, it's not horror filled, it's not scary, it's not violent, it's not sexy, it's not intriguing, it's nothing really. It is funny, but not in the way that it was intended. I definitely laughed quite a bit while I was watching this. I absolutely did laugh a lot, but not with it, just at it. Now don't get me wrong, I like a mind bender, I like something a little confusing, a little abstract, something that's intentionally that way though, you know, a David Lynch film or something like that. This is not that. It is a mind bender in the way that nothing really makes any sense because it just doesn't give us enough information. I could actually feel my brain cells falling out of my head while this was on, and I don't know if it's just because I've watched a bunch of these hard gores pretty close together recently, or if it's this film specifically, but I struggled with it. I really struggled to understand what the hell was happening with it. It is nonsense. I think that's the key word. I even went and had a look on the Wikipedia page after watching this, just to see the plot synopsis, to be like, right, just spell it out for me, what goes on here? And even the Wikipedia page has got no clue. So the synopsis is for some reason split up with headings into sections, and the synopsis just sort of stops at what would be like the half-an-hour point in the film. Clearly, the Wikipedia page is just as incompetent as the film itself.
Please wait! Back off, Jenna! Just hold on.
We had. Move.
Okay, let's talk print, shall we? It's not very good, as you can probably imagine. It looks like it was shot on some dirty, grimy film stock. And yeah, this Millennium trash was actually shot on film by the looks of it. But no clean-up attempt has been made for this at all, and it's grimy and dirty looking. It's a bit blurry and flickery at points, and the audio's not very good either. Outside of it being either really loud and clipping the mic or really quiet so you can't hear it, there's also the odd audio glitch here and there. Just horrible to sit through, no matter how you look at it, really. And on the disc, chapter select, trailers for this, and more hardcore trailers. Usual shit, no behind the scenes obviously, because this film wasn't made, it was just shat out. Okay then, time for the case. This cover is clearly ripping off Freddy vs. Jason. And while that film isn't perfect, I'd 100% rather watch that any day of the week over this. The image is just misleading too. It makes this look way more competently put together than it actually is. Same could be said for the screenshots on the back as well, actually. They just look decent, and the quality on this film on the disc, along with just the film itself, is nothing like these screenshots at all. The blurb tries its best to make sense out of the plot, which, you know what, that's commendable. Good luck. In a way, it's kind of misselling the mess that this film really is as well by actually trying to be coherent. I did spot this, there's a missing capital letter here, but outside of that, that's it really. The rest of the information all seems correct. Sure, fine. Overall then, this film fails in every conceivable way. I don't think I have a single positive thing to say about it. It is absolutely dreadful, just a terrible film. Would I recommend it? No, but, and I bet you weren't expecting the but for this. Now I bring it up every now and then, but I genuinely think that this might be the perfect movie night film. Get your friends round, get drunk, that one's kind of important for this one I think. And I think that you might be in for a good time with this sort of thing, to be honest. I think this might be perfect fodder for intoxication and joking about with your mates. Something that you're not going to pay too much attention to. Every now and then you try and figure out what the fuck's happening. You take a shot every time a zombie appears for no reason. You know, I think this might be perfect for that. For solo viewing, absolutely avoid this at all costs. There is only one way to watch this, I think, and it is definitely inebriated with close friends who are on the same wavelength as you and can laugh at something so badly made. Outside of that, do not watch this film at all. It is not worth money or time or effort or anything like that. If for some weird reason you are wanting to buy this and you are in the market for it, it's this or a Shriek collection. And I'm guessing it's the same print and it's not great. I don't think they're going to be re-releasing this on Blu-ray anytime soon. I think even Asylum should be ashamed of this one, to be honest. So, this could easily be the worst film we've watched so far. But you know what they say, when you've hit rock bottom, the only way is up. And I am... It can't get worse than this. Can it? It can't, can it? Next episode, we are going to be checking out Switch Killer. Maybe it can get worse.